Welcome to the Business is War podcast, where we speak about intelligently. Let me add that intelligently speak about all things related to business, how it's constructed, where it comes from, what are the details that make it work, why so many businesses go out of business, everything related to the combat zone of war, the terrain, the trenches, and you name it, we're going to discuss it on this platform. Today I have Calvin Mills Jr. with us. He is an innovator. He's a tech wizard. He's an application developer. He's done some amazing work from government to private practice to enterprise, you name it, he's done it. And we're going to talk with him about it today so that I can become better. And this platform can allow you to grow with whatever we're trying to put out, which is nothing but constant content related to the improvement of the business landscape that we all live by. Today, we say thank you for joining us, and let's dig in. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Listen to me. I want to know, you're a black technologist. Like, how does that happen?
To be honest with you, man, I don't know. I went to school, Southern University. Shout out to Southern University to major in computer science and business. I've always loved gadgets. Always loved tech. I've always just loved innovative things, and that's just been my life outside of football.
So what's your go-to? Are you a Linux guy? You're a black hat, red hat? You're a hacker? You're a regular coder? What's the thing?
Nah, honestly, man, I'm not even a coder. I used to tell my professors, I said, look, I'm not built to sit behind a cubicle and just code all day.
Heard that.
I really love to be hands-on. So I got started with the hardware side of IT, of technology, and that's really how I got into the business. And from there, I just taught myself other things and started to elevate. As the times changed, I also was able to adapt and see what was going on. But, like they used to tell us back in the day when I was in school, computer science and technology is going to change every 6 months. So we're always learning. We're never off the clock.
So listen, that learning curve is intelligent because you went hardware first, meaning that you were actually dealing with CPUs and actual frames and whatnot. Because I remember back in the day, I used to be adding hard drives and all kinds of other stuff. Putting I can't think of the code card in the back, the IDEs or whatever. I remember all that stuff, and we would just be switching out stuff and parts, and it was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I learned a lot about that, but then you add the software that sits on top of it.
Yes.
Whether it be a Microsoft software, and all of us had Microsoft, but Apple came out and changed the game, didn't they?
They did. They made it a lot more simplistic for you. And that was when I really started to pay attention and realize what the real money was. Because when you look at the hardware, how I started my business was really helping low-income families get computers by building those computers. And I looked at all of the different components that I had to put into it. There's a lot of time that goes into that, so it's a lot of time consuming. And then I started looking at the software. Once the software is built, you're just repeating and reselling it every single time. And to me, that's where the margin was.
So you felt like software as a service back then was the way to go and not the hardware.
Exactly. Exactly, because the hardware was what it was, right? You're going to spend $600-$700 on this box, but then you have all of this software. In order for you to do every single thing that you need to do, there's a software for it. Whether it was PDFs, there's a software for that. The operating system, there's a software for that. Even writing a document, there was a software for that. But that box, it wasn't going to change. The only thing you might have to do extra on that box was add memory. That's it.
You know what you just did? You just made me understand how revolutionary Microsoft was.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't think they get their flowers, do they?
Oh, they do. They get their flowers.
They get the money.
When I look at that stock price every day, they get their flowers.
They're getting the money, but I don't think the average person understand that a Microsoft Word, a Microsoft, Excel, a Microsoft or whatever.
It's your life.
We live and die by it.
It's your life. A lot of people don't realize if you have a computer, you can't do anything without Microsoft. Well, at least for a Windows computer, you have to have the operating system, Microsoft.
Well, I hate to tell you, but you go get an Apple computer, it's got Microsoft software on it.
True. You're looking at the cloud base now, but Apple did have their own. They had their own way of using Microsoft software for themselves. They had their text file, they had their different, like their PDFs, their way of looking at PowerPoints and Publisher and all of that. So they made their own version of it. but now it's been more adaptable to where they have allowed you to have Microsoft on your Apple computers, and everything is cloud now. So it's really easy. You know, you pay a subscription, boom, you just go on the web and you get that.
Do you believe that Adobe is the company that started everybody paying monthly subscriptions and annual subscriptions?
I would say so.
Let me tell you why. Because you know, me and you and everybody else used to get a computer and be jump drive and everything else on that thing, and we get a file, we get a software, and we be just using it on 1,000 computers 10 times in a row.
Yep.
Then they came out with product keys, and they started to protect their software and stop pirating, didn't they?
Yep. They sure did. You know, even when I started doing computer work for other people, for homes and businesses, you know, we had to use those product keys, and I would explain to customers, it's like, this product key is only for one computer. You know, you would have to get a volume key, you know, because they really locked it down, because you used to could just put that on every single computer, like you said. Yeah.
Man, listen, but guess what though? That's basically, you see, I mean, that software as a service model has changed so many businesses.
Oh, it has. It's a lot of businesses to expand too, because now, you know, all you need is just an internet connection. You no longer actually need hardware to do anything. You can go to a hotel, you know, and log into your account, and boom, you're up and running and doing work. It's the same way when you're looking at software now. You know, AI has really changed and revolutionized the way we do business. In fact, for me, like I said, I'm not a coder. You know, my new company that I've had since 2020 is a software development application company. And at first, I was having to hire developers to write the code to build the application for me.
Now you're using AI to do it.
Yeah, I took a couple of years off to do some other things, and then I came back to it last year. And in a matter of a month, I literally taught myself how to use the AI tools and literally built the first prototype of my application.
I'm not mad with you at all.
Saved myself $150,000.
Well, that's a problem, because that was $150,000 in labor.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad with you as a business owner for watching your margins and protecting yourself and growing a business. But what are we going to do when nobody has a job?
Listen, I tell everybody this. You can't be scared of AI. You can't be scared of artificial intelligence. Why? Because it's still going to require labor. Yes, it's learning, but somebody has to teach it. You know, there are different...
Skynet is coming.
You know, they have to be able to input that information. You need database, you need analytics, you need all of these different things to still allow for AI to work. It doesn't just work out of thin air. The information is fed into it.
I don't know.
And it's constantly learning.
If you give it access to the World Wide Web, www, then it instantly knows everything that's already been published in the history.
That's true. But you also got to realize you have to fact check everything, because it's constantly learning. The information is there, but you have to be able to decipher what's correct, what's wrong.
The model's coming.
Yeah.
The model's coming, which is going to give it the ability to have, let's say, 5 or 6, 7 or 8 or 9, 10 points of reference for it before it takes it for golden standard.
Well, when you look at, you know, Google with Gemini and Anthropic with Claude, you're looking at OpenAI. Those companies are on the forefront, and OpenAI is the leader in the F1 race right now. You know, they have been so far ahead, as in ChatGPT, but they have other models outside of ChatGPT. Sora is their video model. You know, they're making it to where you can use those tools to really help. And Sam Altman, who is, as you know, one of the founders, he said it last year. He said, you're coming into the era where you will have the solo entrepreneur billionaire.
Yeah. With zero labor, help, nobody else.
You'll have single entrepreneurs that are building billion-dollar companies because they have all of these tools that they'll be able to use. I'm starting to witness it myself for me. You know, I'm able to, like I said, I taught myself how to use the tools over a weekend. Mm-hmm. Next thing I know, I went to Best Buy, bought an updated MacBook. Boom, I spent 12 hours a day for 4 weeks and built my prototype, and it would have cost me $150,000 to get that done.
Man, and it can find and resolve the errors and everything.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I think that is absolutely crazy. I don't even want to, toot my own horn because I'm still in the early development stages of application development. But let me just tell you, I used something, and one of my team members was like, "Why would you pay for that? Why don't we just make it?" I'm like, man, you can't just make everything. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of got the bug. I got like 9 apps in development right now. You know what I'm saying? I got the bug. But guess what? You know what the next thing is? How cheap can you get the storage?
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so remember when the Blu-ray first came out, that sucker was $100 for one disc. Now you can get them $5 in the Dollar Tree store. You know what I'm saying? So I think that storage is going to continue to come down in price because everybody will be able to have some sort of a server farm or whatever.
The data centers are the new thing right now. You know, even here in Louisiana up north, they're building the data center. Then they got another one coming down south. So they're looking to build those across the country, and that's where all the money's really going to be made because storage is key.
Yeah,
you know, you can have information, but you can't do anything unless you store it.
Man.
You know? So
yeah, I'm kind of baffled, and I'm cautiously optimistic and intimidated and happy and sad at the same time because, like I said, when AI comes for the job, what does the 25-year-old that just got out of college that can't find a place to work? Back in the day, you can go to Ford, GM, and Chevy, go to Motortown, USA, Pittsburgh in the steel plants or whatever, and you could build a family. The white picket fence, the station wagon, you could do it.
They're gonna have to adapt. They're gonna have to learn. They're gonna have to learn what positions are out there, and learn how to get into those positions. One of the things that we did years back, one of my tech companies, SLT Technology. We actually did certification training for individuals to allow them to get certifications because Google was one of the first tech companies to say they no longer required you to have a 4-year college degree.
Hello.
Because they realized that if a person gets a certification, they now become a specialty in that specific area, right? It's almost like getting a master's degree because when you get your master's degree, you're getting it in a specific concentrated area. So now when you look at a certification, that tells them I can put you to work right away versus you being a college graduate, having a broad understanding, and we have to still pay money to train you on something. So that's less time for them when you're certified versus just coming in as a college degree recipient. So I tell anybody, and I talk to people all the time, and I say, listen, go get your certifications. Go get certificate. Yes, you're in college. Get some certifications. Okay. Get those certifications behind because you're going to be more of a asset to that company than a person that just has a degree, because it also shows you got some experience because you have knowledge in what they're asking you to do. And that's why I say you got to adapt. You know, as AI and as technology continues to evolve, you have to evolve. You know, it's just like the title of my book, No Secrets to Elevation. There are no secrets.
Correct.
You have to continue to evolve and elevate each and every day and learn something new. You have to want to learn. You can't just get mad and sit around.
The problem I have with the whole not needing a college degree is that we got to get these 17-year-old boys out of their mom's basements.
Oh, of course. Of course.
And so college was a chance to get drunk, let alcohol use courage, to get to go talk to that girl that you really cannot live without, and for her to be like, okay, I'll give you a shot, it to be the best investment in your life, and before you know it, you're standing up straight and you're halfway to the altar and you're working in the career field.
But it also taught you too, one, how to rely on yourself, because the second that you left mom and dad, you were on your own. You didn't have anybody. You didn't have anybody waking you up to go to class.
Come on.
If you didn't go to class, you failed.
That's right.
You know, my mom, may she rest in peace, when she dropped me off at Southern University, she gave me $20. She said, "Son, I love you. Don't come home without a degree. Don't call me for no more money because I ain't got it."
Man, that's a bar. Don't come home without a degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I need you to understand something. These kids today, everybody's telling them they don't need a degree and that AI can do it in 5 seconds when, and
life
everything else.
Is different, man.
It is.
It's even when you look at football, I was a football player. These players get NIL deals now.
Man, can you imagine giving a 17-year-old kid who can run fast, because we all can run fast at 17, money? What's the motivation and what's the incentive then? Because if you...
That's why you got to put the right type of people around them and make sure that they have the understanding and education. Because if they do, you'll have more students, more players at least, or athletes in general, not just football players, but athletes in general, graduating with at least 6 figures in the bank to help them really start, because they can come out, they can start their business, they may go get a career, or they may be set for life where they've learned how to invest that money, and then now they're entrepreneurs. You're building a wave. That's how I look at it.
And that's the glass half full.
Yeah.
But I want you to know something. There is another side to that story. which is that the kid doesn't do well with the money because they've never had responsibility. Remember something, you need to get that first paycheck after you graduate from college, and it's only $500. You need to get that first paycheck, and you need to be able to figure out how you're going to stretch it and make it work, and when you get paid again, and how the timing works, because that teaches you budgetary restrictions.
Yeah.
But you don't get that when you getting the check because you just run fast.
But you know what? That's why I love entrepreneurship, man, because you're going to have to learn it all.
Yeah, it's basically like being a waiter.
Yeah.
Because when you work in hospitality and you deal with that table with 10 people that tip you $1, or you deal with that table that has one person that tip you $10, you learn so many life lessons. You learn how to communicate. You learn how to be responsible for the kitchen. You learn how to. I tell people all the time, being a waiter, waitress is a microcosm of real life and happening real time. And so I'm still a fan of AI. I believe that Skynet's coming. I don't want us to be at war with, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because the Terminator that movie came out in the 70s, you know what I'm saying? 80s or whatever, I'll be back, you feel like there's ever going to be a moment in which AI is not only here for the job, but it's here for itself?
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Come on, man, they're making girlfriends out of AI.
Hey, time will tell. That's how I look at it. You just have to be prepared for anything. I don't at this point. I'm seeing stuff that we saw in movies years ago.
Correct.
That have come to fruition. So you just never know. I just say you have to get the information for yourself and learn, and just be prepared. And that's what I've done my whole life, is try to educate myself and make sure that at least I'm in the know and I have an understanding. Because if you don't know, that's where the trouble comes from. At least you'll have a fighting chance if you have some type of education when it comes to knowing about these type of things, especially in technology, because it's always changing and they're always making things. Right now, you got CES going on in Vegas, which is the largest electronic convention. It's been going on for years, and they always come out with things. New manufacturers come out with new equipment, different ways to help you around the house, help you in business, help you just with everything. And if you're not just even looking at these things, you're going to be lost.
So, my next point, if a person wanted to ask exactly where you fit at in technology, how would you answer that?
Where I fit at? Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I would probably say where I fit at with technology is understanding the needs of customers and how to find solutions to give them that.
Okay. So so your whole animal is use technology to make the customer experience better.
Yep.
And obviously you monetize it.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's my whole life. I decided to step out literally 2 months before Hurricane Katrina and go full time with my first company. I told God that I wasn't going to look for another job. I quit my job, and the rest was history. Serial
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of guts and grit to say that you're going to step out on your own and try to do your own thing. I commend you for it. I salute you to it. Okay, so what's the name of your current company?
So the current company that I have right now is Help IT Incorporated.
Okay, tell us all about it.
So Help IT Incorporated came about during COVID. I got bored, and I wanted to find a way to really allow everybody to have access to technology. My first company, CMC Technology, which I still have, it's been 23 years now that I've had the company. I wanted to find a way where my existing customers can communicate with us faster and easier, and also to open up the reach. Okay. Right. So what we did with Help IT, I said I wanted to create an application that would allow the everyday person, college students, mom and pop. If you're mom and pop, grandma across the country, and you're calling your grandkids all the ways to walk you through how to fix something, how to fix the computer or some type of electronics, now you can just go in the application and do it instead of having to try to catch on to them. Same thing when it comes to small business owners. Small business owners can't afford to have an IT department, right? They can't even afford to have a technology help desk person on staff, just one person. So now with our application, you pay a subscription and you always have access to it 24/7.
Software as a service.
Software as a service.
Wow. So how does a person utilize your service? How do they access the tool set?
So when the application goes live, you'll basically pay a subscription. You'll pick your plan, and then the plans are based on how many tickets per month that you think that you're going to need. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, you use our AI tools within the application to be able to be a first tier, so to speak. So you put in your equipment, the type of equipment, it's a laptop, a desktop. You put in what type of brand it is, the manufacturer. Then you put the model number, and then in your own words, you just describe what your problem is. Our
So
AI
you're
tools,
talking to the tool set.
yeah, you're talking to the tool set, and you're just telling it, hey, my computer just popped up a blue screen. So it knows your model. It knows, okay, in your own words, what it is. So then it goes and it gets the exact information for your model. It doesn't just give you this generic information. It gives you specific information for the equipment that you have. And then it walks you through. It actually gives you step-by-step instructions and walks you through how to solve that problem. If the step-by-step instructions work, then you just hit yes and you rate your experience and you're done. If not, you get 2 more recommendations. If those recommendations don't work, then we have technicians that are deployed through the application to your location. Basically, I'm the Uber of tech support.
Man, that's dope. That's disruptive.
Yeah.
It's very disruptive, and we know that people have not always appreciated disruption early on because it like today's generation is comfortable with buying food through delivery apps.
Oh yeah, convenience.
They're comfortable with buying groceries through delivery app. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite there yet because I don't want nobody picking my oranges out.
I'm not a big fan of somebody picking my groceries or bringing my food.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't want you picking my oranges out.
I'm good with that. But something like this, you know, for let's just say you're a business owner and it's a Saturday at your shop, man, and all of a sudden you're crowded.
Yeah.
Right. Can you afford to tell people, oh, my computer just shut down, I'm going to have to ask everybody to leave because I'm going to have to close the store and drive across town to Best Buy? You don't have that type of time, nor do you want to lose that business. So now you can keep things running, go into the application, and allow us to fix the problem for you, and you can still service your customers.
Well, then that sounds to me like you found you a niche. I hope that you drive a hole into it and you just expose it and you make $1 million off of it. I hope.
No, I plan on making over $1 billion. My goal is to take the company public.
Okay.
There's never been a black tech founder to go from start to finish.
Wow.
And I'm trying to become the first to do it. I've already 2 years ago I had a chance to go to New York and meet with the Nasdaq and I told them that this is what I want to do. And I was literally told they've never had anybody to come and talk to them at the stage that I was at. And I said, well, I'm not everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I've always believed that God has given me a vision. And I've always tried to walk in that vision and walk in my purpose.
So
and that's
you
just
want
my
to
attitude.
ring the bell.
I want to ring the effing bell. And I have told any investor that has talked to me, any VC that's talked to me, I told them I will get to New York and I will ring that bell.
So how do you get there with a VC and you don't give them control of your company? Because I know they have predatory practices. I know that they're extremely good at what they do, which is to figure out a way to put you into a trick bag. And I say that because I know a lot of not even venture capital companies, but a lot of private equity companies that do it, and they do it so good because their lawyers are better. Mm-hmm. They have more resources. And we need, like even my company, I need injection. Mm-hmm. We all do. But I just wonder, how do you do it strategically and it works on your favor, you know?
It's tough. I'll be honest. You know, when I started Help IT, this was the first time that I got into the VC world. Mm-hmm. And one of my good friends, shout out to Savichi Wilson, she's been in this world for a while now.
Is she local?
She's local. She's here in New Orleans. Matter of fact, she was recognized by Black Enterprise Magazine as the first Black female, I believe, to raise over $2 million. She's amazing. And I went to her and I said, hey, sis, I'm getting ready to get into your world. I need help. And one of the things that I remember talking to her about was that you can't take everybody's money. And at the same time, in my mind, what I'm trying to do is do something before I get to the point where I have to take other people's money. If I can go to the bank and get a loan that will help us to get where we're trying to get, I would do that. You know, once the application goes live, we'll be able to start generating revenue through the application. So, you know, I may get to $100 million before I have to get VC funding. Mm-hmm. You know, all I could do is trust the vision that I was given, trust God and trust the direction He has for me, and go. one thing about me, and you'll learn this, and you may have heard it, I'm a man of faith, and that's something that has always been in me.
Okay.
So I'm not going to shy away from it. So I just believe that I am on a journey that is meant for me, and I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to continue to move forward. And however I get there, I'm going to get there. And I believe I could potentially get there to the bell before I have to take VC money or get institutional investors.
That's crazy. Let me explain something to you.
It's a tough road.
You
It's a
just
tough
said to
journey.
me. You just said to me that you understand your purpose, and that's so important because
It took me a long time to get there too.
a lot of people just out here head down grinding.
Yeah.
Not even making decisions, but reacting. And I've been there before. I did that for years until I got to the point to where I said, okay, all money ain't good money. Refinement, intelligent understanding, overviews. I started getting to a higher level of understanding of who I was and what my business was and what our capacity was. Learning to say no. Because you know what? I used to take every customer.
Yeah.
And now I'm not picking and choosing, but I'm definitely funneling.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, I get it. So,
Listen, it's tough. You know, most people say, man, you're crazy, but, you know, that's what separates us. You know, I understand who I am and why I have what I have is because God has allowed me to have it. And because of that, I've been able to be blessed and do some amazing things. When I look back, when I look at my life and where I'm at, I just turned 49 on New Year's Day. And sometimes I think, and I'm just like, wow, the amount of things that I've been able to accomplish and do. I mean, I've won numerous awards.
congratulations, and you get it.
I've been a guest in the White House more times. Most people joke with me like, man, when you and Obama going to play basketball? And, you know, I've only met the man once. You know, but the fact that I've had the opportunity to do so many things and be respected by so many people, I know it's not because of me. It's because of the man I serve.
I heard
and because of the path that he's put me on and me accepting and walking in my purpose. And it gets uncomfortable for a lot of people. And I'm fine with that. You know, sometimes
But you
we
gotta
have to walk
understand that
alone.
they don't understand what you understand.
Right.
And I would say
And
that
it ain't meant for them to understand.
true, but I would also I would also say that I have non-faith believing people that work for me every day.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Long as they do the job.
Yep.
Long as they do the job, we don't have to be aligned on politics and religion or anything else, you know what I'm saying? Drinking culture, non-drinking culture, whatever. We don't have to do that. As long as we can cohesively work together and it's not a toxic environment, I'm good with that. Now, let me ask you, what does a normal workday look like for you?
A normal work day normally would be me getting up. I usually walk for an hour a day. Sometimes I do it twice a day. And then I get in my office and I'm either making phone calls, responding to emails, sending emails, and then I get into the application and start working with the AI tools and just constantly just refining screens, refining steps, refining features, and doing those things. And then, you know, I'll check on our existing customers that we have with my other companies, CMC Technology. I'll talk to my guys and see kind of where we're at with things. And then every day I'm checking my QuickBooks, you know, kind of seeing where we're at. And really just outside of that, man, just relaxing. I watch CNBC all day long, so
Yeah.
I'm very tied into the market and understanding what's going on, because one thing I did learn, everything ties back to the market. Everything we do ties back to that market, and I've learned a lot, and I've been aware of a lot of stuff too. Even when it comes to technology, it's allowed me to start researching stuff earlier than I would have normally do, because what I've realized is that these companies, when they make strategic moves, I have to make those strategic moves as well and understand what's getting ready to be announced, what's getting ready to be adapted into the market. Even when it came to OpenAI, you know, what people don't realize, artificial intelligence has been around for years.
It has.
It's only become commercialized over the last 3 or 4 years, and OpenAI made that possible. You know, even when you look at Siri, and honestly, Apple, when you can look at Siri is a form of artificial intelligence.
It is.
You know, it's not what we look at or think about when it comes to ChatGPT, but it's there. So it's only become commercialized, but I understood that and looked at IBM years ago with Watson. Watson's been around for years.
He has. Jarvis,
you know, but
Watson.
people didn't understand it. You know, IBM, and maybe I got lucky because one of my mentors, his son played football with me at Southern. You know, he's one of the executives of IBM. So I've always had an inside road, of course, with me being in technology, to understand and see those things. But those days, man, I have some busy days. Some days I'm traveling like crazy, and I think that's why, like, last year was probably the first time I ever almost didn't do anything for a whole year, and God had to sit me down. Unfortunately, it was with health, with some surgeries, but I actually got to sit down and really realize, like, wow, I was moving nonstop, and I was traveling not just domestically but internationally as well.
Hey, man, that take a toll on your body, doesn't it?
Honestly, I love to travel. It really didn't, because I allowed myself to rest when I needed to.
That's important.
But I grind. I love the grind. So last year was a big adjustment for me to just not do anything and just sit. Not really being on my phone a lot.
When you say last year, you mean 2025?
2025, yeah. I started the year in January. I had to have an emergency surgery. That set me down for almost 4 or 5 months. Then I finally got moving around again, and all of a sudden I was back in the hospital with another surgery. So yeah, my 2025 was literally a year of reflection, of rejuvenation, and just being quiet. And I learned a lot, and I saw a lot, and was able to experience a lot just by sitting back and letting everything slow down for me.
Let me tell you something about perspective. To drive somewhere is a very different visual and emotional experience than to be a passenger on that same trip.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand how close they were to each other, but yet how far apart. And so what you just said to me was that you had to take a life break.
Yeah.
And you got to see life from a different lens during that time period. I like to tell people 2025 was a year of endurance. It was a year in which...
That too.
It was a year in which it was really awkward. People were doing things to keep the revenues right, even though they weren't. The cost of the dollar is moving like a line in the sand every day. The economy is doing weird stuff. The stock market is high, unemployment rate is low, but ain't nobody got no job.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't feel like the market is a true litmus test as to what's really happening in the country rather.
Yeah.
And so I don't get it. But I would say that AI, 2025 was the year that we got comfortable with AI. We heard it. It's the most Googled word in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not going nowhere. And yeah, I'm waiting on Star Trek to come, and we tap the ear and we do the teleportations. And the next one is when we're gonna start scanning the body.
That technology exists.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna start scanning the body and figuring out what's wrong already.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'm ready for that. Go ahead and scan the body and tell me where the cancer at. Scan the body and look at the tumor before we got to do anything. Scan the body and fix it. I'm fine with all that, and that's what I believe AI should be doing. I don't believe that AI should be just coming for that job market. Because you know how many people graduate and don't even get a job in their career, number one.
Oh, even before AI, it was like that. You got kids spending, 6 figures going to these Ivy League schools. Then they're coming out and they're only being able to get a job that's maybe $50,000. And it's tough.
Death trap. Don't miss a student payment. And I know people with $500,000 in student loans. And
I know somebody close to me that has a 6-figure student loan debt, and I mean it's unfortunately that's how you have to go to school. You can even with scholarships, but
with scholarships. And listen, how does that make sense that you still walking away with a mortgage, and you had a scholarship?
Yeah.
And so now that's why that kid is saying, man, let me think about this. Take that $500,000 route, or just go get proficiency. And grab proficiency and then put time in. And then you know what, that path kind of mirrors it. They rival each other in success track, you know what I mean? But I still think that young men and young women need the collegiate experience for social skills.
Well, yeah. I still say students should go to college, because I mean you get an experience. I met some of my best friends in college to this day.
Still got those relationships?
Oh yeah, man. It's a group of us, man. They're my brothers, and actually, they've worked with me in my other companies in the past.
Yeah. So, what are you most proud of about Help IT?
Probably the thing that I'm most proud of is what we're actually building. Because when I've had to do pitches for VCs and even some of my mentors, and I've showed them the prototype that we have, I'm looking at their face and they're like, wow, Calvin, you're on to something, and that lets me know that, it wasn't just a dream, that it wasn't just a crazy idea, that it was actually something that I could bring to market that can truly help people. And I guess for me, I was always a computer, and I still am. To my family, I'm the computer guy.
Yeah.
Everybody calls Calvin with their computer problems. Hey, man, can you help me with this? And to think that I'm building something that will allow them to just pick up their phone, because you carry your phone everywhere.
Yes, we do.
You know, that's the most important thing. If you leave your phone, people go crazy. They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
because
I
you know
left
what?
my phone.
The anxiety, the dependency.
Yeah. So, you know, I think I would say just the fact that I know I'm building something that's going to be a game changer.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to try to help you out any way I can, whether I'll just be using the service or I'll be selling it. You're going to give me my 10%. Listen, tell me everything about No Secrets to Elevation.
Man, No Secrets to Elevation is the book that I wrote. It came out in 2018. And I really just wanted to share my story, my journey to entrepreneurship and how I went about that. And I spoke my truth in the book. You know, I talked about how I got started and how I quit my job and I stepped out on faith to create my first company. And I even talked about, you know, going through a bad divorce and having to move into my office because there was something greater that I believed in. And, you know, I had people tell me I needed to give up trying to be an entrepreneur and just get a 9-to-5 job. And I said, no, I know what I'm going after and I will succeed at it. And I just talked about all of that, and I just wanted people to see through me, through my eyes, that listen, you can make this work, that it can happen. You know, it may be hard, it may be a journey, but if you believe in it and you take the time and put the work into it, you could be successful at it. Mm-hmm. That's why I say there's no secret to elevation, because there really is no secret. Just put the work in. You know, if you love what you do and you put the work in, you can achieve anything. And I'm a testament to that. You know, I had to move into an office, slept on the air mattress for a year and a half.
Bro, listen to me. That's the war stories right there.
Oh, yeah. You know, I remember when I went through that divorce, man, years ago, I moved into my office and all I had was an air mattress, my desk, my laptop, and no hot water. And I stayed in there for about a year and a half. And, you know, when people found out reading my book, they were like, man, why you didn't say nothing? Why you didn't ask for help? And I said, because it was for me to go through, not you. Mm-hmm. You know, I accepted it, and I never forget the day. I could tell you the turning point, and I talk about it in the book. It was cold outside. It was around this time of the year, and I was taking a cold shower, and I just bust out laughing. And I said, all right, Lord, I get it. If this is where I have to be, so be it. I accept it. It is what it is. Do what you got to do. But I promise you this is what I want. And took my shower, went to sleep, and just moved on with my life and just never gave up. But I'm a fighter. And anybody that knows me knows that, you know, I don't give up. And I'm going, if I believe in something, I'm going to see it to fruition. Just like I said, I'm going to get to that bell. I promise you, I'm going to get to that bell. And I've already had the vision of how that day is going to go.
Oh, my goodness. Let me explain something to you. I wrote stuff down before in my journal. And I'm not a big journaler, but I'm a note taker and a big writer downer, if you would. And then I went back a year later and looked at it, and everything I was able to cross it off. Mm-hmm. And so with that, you wonder, why don't people write down stuff all the time and forecast their life and bring it into real world, you know, existence? And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're so busy living in the past that we can't even appreciate the present. Mm-hmm. And the anxiety coming from what's coming and ain't here and probably won't ever happen.
So you said two things, the writing it down part and then the past. One of the things that I've posted in the past on my Instagram is the picture of my old house that I grew up in. Mm-hmm. And I said, I will never forget where I came from, because where I came from gave me the foundation for where I'm going.
Heard that.
When you talk about writing it down, in 2019 at 11 o'clock, I was doing a walk, and I opened up my notes on my phone, and I wrote down, I will have one of the largest Black-owned companies, tech companies in the world. I will be a global leader. I will ring the bell at the Nasdaq. I wrote that down because Habakkuk 2 says, write it down and make it plain. And I meant what I said. Ooh. And I promise you, matter of fact, I'll say it here first on your podcast, I will ring that bell. And when I do, I'm going to do it on the football field at Southern University, I will have the Nasdaq come to Baton Rouge, and I want everybody that's ever been in my life to come and witness that day, because not only will it be a day that changes my life, but it's going to change the life of Southern University because I left them with a gift, and it's going to change the life of those students over there too.
Man, well,
that is my goal.
Put the endowment together. Break them off.
It's already done.
Because what I realize is that, we have to help each other. And it took me a minute because I know people who spent their entire life at the bottom in the trenches, dirty, trying to give. And they never did anything for themselves. And I can tell you right now that I got to a place in my life where I am right now where I can be more philanthropic because I've mastered my craft. I put the time in. As Drake liked to say, I was in the gym shooting the reps. Do you know most charities give a very small percentage of the proceeds to the actual, to the cause, because most of it's required to run the business. And I'm like, I didn't understand that, man. Listen, look them up. Look them up.
Listen, I know. I've done this. My mom had a servant heart, and it passed down to me. She taught me a lot just by watching her. And people that know me will tell you, I give of my heart and my time, my money. I've been doing it for years. I've always been like that. And it's a lot of stuff that I've done that hasn't been broadcast, posted, none of that stuff, because I do it because I want to.
You ain't doing it for the trophy.
Exactly. And what I understand, and I'm like you, I go to the source and I say, okay, this is what is needed. I'll go and buy the actual thing or stuff that they're asking for and give versus just giving the money. Because like if I give you the money, I want to make sure it's being done. So the best way for me to know if it's being done is to go and just get the stuff myself and give that donation or whatever to whatever cause is being done.
Yeah.
That way I can walk away and know that it was actually done. Because if I'm just giving money, I'm gonna be wondering. I wonder if
I'm not doing it,
because if I may not hear
early in my career, I did stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I had 10 grand and I could take and put something into something, I would do it, and then I would always wonder, did it work? Now I'm buying boxing gloves for less fortunate kids. I'm actually helping with school supplies, stuff like that. That's where my philanthropy lies. Because
I'm a computer guy. I've been giving away laptops, man, for 20 years.
I'm not mad with you, and that's a great thing to do. Yeah. I salute you on that, and we can collaborate on something if God says the same. So, what's next for you right now? What's the next 2026 initiative that you're going to just go power through?
So the 2026 initiative right now for us is we've already relocated the company to Salt Lake City. And I'm getting ready to relocate myself to Salt Lake City because for me, I have to go where the resources and the support is for me. And also, I love New Orleans. I love Baton Rouge. I love Louisiana. But right now, for where I'm trying to go, it's not here.
Man, and I hate to hear that.
I hate to say that, but you have pockets of people doing stuff, doing some amazing things, but you don't have that true ecosystem of people doing it, especially for the Black community when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to tech entrepreneurs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not there. And I've tried to help guide and build that, but for what I've experienced and what I've seen, the support for me to get to the next level, to be able to come back in a different way and actually make a bigger impact, I have to leave in order to do that. So that's what we're looking at, the biggest thing for 2026, and then going live and really having a huge marketing push to launch the application, which I'm really excited about because, I feel like once it's out there, it's going to take off.
So listen, they say a prophet is not loved in his hometown. And I put in this beautiful book called Business is War right here. Get your copy on the Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.com. I put a statement that says you got to go 50 miles from your house to be an expert.
Yeah.
People have a tendency not to be able to let you do and be who you really are as you grow.
Yep.
They got you stuck. They got you pigeonholed. And that's very frustrating. If you got to leave and go to Salt Lake City to grow your company, then I say, let me buy you the plane ticket. But I do not want to hear that because I'm here and I'm kind of invested in this community and I'm entrenched. But I mean, I think that maybe it might be on my roadmap as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, listen, I'm learning. Right now, I'm learning. I'm looking at you. I'm telling you, you know, I never thought about ringing a bell, but let me tell you something. That ain't a bad idea.
Oh, listen, when I sat down and asked the questions and found out I had one thing in my mind of what it takes to ring the bell, but when they laid it out and gave me all the information, I realized this is obtainable.
And sometimes we need to see the recipe.
Right. And when I saw it, I said, okay, now I got the number in my head that I have to get to in order to qualify and be able to ring the bell. So for us, you know, I've said it every time I've talked to somebody, this is what I want to do. And now people realize, oh, he's serious. And I am. And I will accomplish it. And it may be sooner rather than later.
Listen, I can't wait to see it. I want to be on. Man, look, invite me to the arena too, so I can come out there.
Hey, listen,
you know,
I'm telling you, I've had a vision, man. I've seen that day. I've seen myself giving the interviews. I've seen the questions being asked to me. You know, what was the secret to you building this company? And I laugh and I can simply say, God.
Let's talk about that, building a company. How do you build a technology company that offers a service like Help IT that's scalable, that's impactful? How do you do that? Where does one start if you're giving an entrepreneur some advice?
And I love that the key word you said is scalable. Because you can have a scalable company or you can have a lifestyle company. You know, those are two different things. And for me, if you want to build a company, one, you have to find a problem. Okay, and once you find that problem, you have to think about, well, how are you going to solve it? And then you see if it's already out there. And sometimes if the solution is already out there, maybe you can add a tweak to it that makes it even better. And then that's where you really start. But you also have to be able to ask questions. You can't be afraid to open your mouth. That's one of the things for me that helped me out a lot was I went to people and I asked questions. You know, even if they were younger than me, because Savitra is younger than I am, but I have so much mad respect for her. I went to her and said, hey, I need your help. And I didn't know how to create a company that is scalable. I had created companies that are considered lifestyle, even though they're tech. Yeah. But, you know, I wanted something that was scalable, that was attractive to VCs. And, you know, she gave me the tidbits and I watched her do it. So, you know, you have to be able to want to ask questions. But also, man, you got to have a drive. Because listen, and excuse my language, this shit ain't easy.
No, it's not.
You know, I tell people all the time, they may see, oh, you taking a trip or you doing this or that, but don't realize the amount of hours and work and time and aggravation, frustration, disappointment that you go back, the setbacks. Like I said, 2025, I was at home. Not flying and doing all these things. I was at home.
Trust me,
and that was big for me because I'm not used to that. But if you're trying to build, you have to be able to understand the problem, find a solution, or create a new solution. And on top of that, ask questions. Ask for help. You can't be afraid to ask for help. And, you know, you have to make yourself fundable. You know, you have to be able to.
You know what? That's a word I've used in the past. Are you a fundable business?
Yeah.
Let me tell you why I say that. Because I had to do some restructuring. I bought a company and I bought it bad because I didn't put it where it needed to be, you know, purchased at. And I learned so many lessons in that process of how to get that paperwork done. Let me tell you something. I'm on year 11. And I just got my corporate structure right. I just got true P&Ls on a 30-day basis. I got my true books receivables, my balance sheets. I got my taxes where I want them at. It took me 11 years. Now, don't get it twisted. I was making money, but I wasn't profiting.
Right.
I was having high revenues, but I wasn't, quote unquote, winning. I had so many financial evolutions that I had to go through to get to the point to where I'm fundable. And that's something that I really worked hard on. I mean, talking about, you know, you might take 6 months and say, okay, this 6 months, I'm going to get it right.
Yeah.
The purchases are coming out of here. The payroll is coming out of here. The operating account, the house account, the whatever account. I got my banking together. And I went and open up some more bank accounts so that I can literally make the pots work. And I make them communicate. And it was so good because now I'm running my inventory. I'm balancing it out. I'm purchasing from one company to another one. The payroll is coming out. The right commissions are coming out. I'm just doing it better because that's what they want to see, is that you got your enterprise together.
Yeah, and see, one of the things that I did, have a CPA, right? Mm-hmm. But years ago, the CPA that I had at that time, I noticed what she was doing. She was basically going in QuickBooks and doing certain things. And I said, you know what? I will pay you to teach me QuickBooks. I want you, instead of me just paying you to do all this for me, teach me so I can at least understand what you're doing. And maybe later on I could take this part over and you could just do the taxes.
Yeah.
So you, like,
which they probably ain't going to be mad with you for, because bookkeeping is tedious.
She was actually happy because she allowed me to learn something. And that's the other thing. You have to be willing to learn.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to entrepreneurship, you're the CEO, the CFO, you're the janitor, you're the sometimes you might be the customer. You know, you literally have to wear a bunch of hats until you get to the point where you can afford to hire someone else to help you. And I got to the point when my mentors would tell me, Calvin, you need to fire yourself.
Yeah.
Because I was working so hard, wearing so many hats, because I wanted all of that control, because I know me and I know if I do it, I'm gonna get it right. And I couldn't find a person like me. And it took me a long time to finally relinquish those responsibilities and allow other people to do it. And that's one of the things that I do like about AI. There are AI tools, especially on the financial side, that help you to bookkeep, not just QuickBooks, but actual bookkeeping CFO software. There's tedious little things that we do in our businesses that people don't understand, because all they see is the suits, the cars, the all this stuff that really don't matter. Mm-hmm. You know, what really matters is come to the office, spend a day with me, and actually watch me and watch me sweat and frustrate and throw something across the room and all of this stuff.
In the same 30 minutes. Right. You just won and lost in the same 30 minutes.
Right.
That's the tug of war that we play every day as
the hard part.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the reasons why I did write the book, because I wanted people to know the truth. Yeah. Like, listen, this is not easy, man. This is hard.
Yes, it is.
You know, I had days, man, where I cried of frustration, just like wanting to give up and be like, man, I don't want to do this. And then I had to slap myself in the face and be like, man, what are you doing? Yeah. You know, and I always go back to the football thing and be like, man, you play football. You done been through worse than this. You built for it. And that used to be one of my hashtags, built for success. And I had to just think about it. And, you know, at the end of the day, I tell anybody, if you love what you do, go for it.
Okay.
You know, you can't sit around, what if? There's never going to be a perfect time or a good time. Jump in and go for it, but ask for help. Allow people, get mentors, shadow people. Don't be afraid or feel like you're bigger than, because this entrepreneur thing will size you up and swallow you whole real quick. And, you know, you'll be able to succeed and look back and say, wow, I went through some stuff, but look where I'm at now. And that's how I feel. You know, when I look back, like I said, you know, man, I remember my first ever award was from the Department of Homeland Security. And it was work after Hurricane Katrina. And when I was there, I was like looking at some of the other companies that they were recognizing from other areas. And they talked about what we did after Hurricane Katrina. And there was a gentleman sitting next to me. He was like, wow, man, y'all did all of that 24 hours a day? So yeah, he said, how many people you got working with you? I said 3. He said, oh, 300 people? I said, no, 3. He said, 3 people? I said, we wanted it, man. He said, wow. We were delivering equipment all over New Orleans, Houma, all these lower areas for FEMA. Yeah. And, you know, I was just in the right place at the right time. And that's really how my company went from a $2,500 contract to over $350,000 in 2.5 months. Beautiful.
Beautiful. And you know what? You got to be in a position to handle that.
Yeah.
So I want you to look right there in that camera and tell your 20-year-old self what's to come, and what they got to do to get to where you are now.
Calvin, at the end of the day, keep grinding, keep pushing, but more importantly, have faith and always make sure God is the foundation, because where you're going and where God is taking you, it's going to be big, it's going to be amazing, but more importantly, it's going to be tough. But you're built for it. And that's all I could tell you is to keep grinding.
Well, on that note, business is war. And today I feel like I went to church. I feel like Calvin has given me a reminder that my core is in my belief and my faith in God as well. So that is the entrepreneur thing. You got to have something that you can fall back on, a place that you can always go to remind you why you keep doing it. You know, I have the sports background, the sports grit, but I would say that, you know, you're right, man. Write it down. Believe it. Keep going. Grind it, because you don't get a trophy. And I'm glad that you got some plaques and some awards, because that does tell you that you're doing something. You're in the will of God and you're in your purpose. And man, I got to tell you something. I salute you. I thank you for coming and giving me a masterclass on how to keep moving and being a part of technology for this many years. You've done an amazing job. And the Businesses War crew and the family, we all support you. Tell us how we can get behind you and support you in what you're doing.
Yeah, man. You know, people can follow me on Instagram, Calvin F. Mills Jr. You can also, if you want to support us, we Help IT. We are in the middle of a round. We're raising funds, so there's a chance for them to invest in the company for as little as $100 on WeFunder. If you go to my Instagram page, the links are there. You can go to our website, helpitinc.com. You can go to my website, calvinmillsjr.com, and you'll be able to follow our journey and just watch what we do.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm going to be at Southern when they ring the bell and bring it down there, because I'm going to have my camera and I'm going to get my popcorn, because I knew it was coming. Because as a man thinketh, so is he. And if your dad has cattle on 1,000 hills like mine, then brother, I'll see you on the other side. Is that a deal?
Sir. That's a deal.
On that note, thank you, Calvin Mills, for coming by and spending some time with us today and giving us a masterclass on all things related. I appreciate you. I salute you. I give you your flowers, and I thank you very much for the words of wisdom, because I'm better for it, and so is my audience. So protect yourself at all times, because business is war.